All right, you maggots, listen up. Now, what you see in the frame is one of my experimental test beds uh, from the CNC days. What this test bed was all about was using this material, aluminum linear rail, and then I invented V slides, which are Delrin with a V cut in them, and they ride on that. Works really well, but there's no need for it because people really don't. They build CNC machines, but they really don't use them. It's it's all bragging rights and make believe and stuff like that. And I didn't realize it. I coined the phrase motor spinners, all with capital letters, all one word, back in the CNC days. Before 3D printing, CNC took off, and CNC existed as in the world of Bridgeport's, Yamaha machines, in basically machine shops. So a lot of people wanted to learn how CNC machines worked. So they would get in these conferences, and the bullshit was thick, incredibly thick. And then I came along and I started showing how with some aluminum window channel, and I don't mean regular window channel, I mean the channel that goes around shopping mall windows. When you look at it upside down, it looks just like a way for a milling machine. And I come up with a set of plans and how to wire the motors up. And the driver, I was providing a circuit board to run the motors. And I joined the group, and they were just going after me because they didn't like my reality. They wanted to play make believe, and I didn't understand that. In the group, there was a guy that sold motors and drivers. There was a guy that sold software. So the guy selling software, he's selling software to people that can't even draw in CAD. They don't know anything about CAD. And the conversations got more and more ridiculous. Guys were upgrading the software even though they didn't know how to draw. Guys were upgrading their motors to servo systems even though they didn't have a machine. The reality of the group was insane. Now there were guys that after I got in some fights with them, they would order my plans, and they would look at the plans and they wouldn't build the machine. Now there were a group of people that bought my plans and built my machines, and you can go on YouTube and put my last name in there, and you'll see one of the guys that actually built the machine and got it all working. There were several, but it's a very small percentage. That's when I coined the phrase one percenters. 1% of people that talk about what they're going to do in life actually do it. It has to do with black belts. People that I'm going to learn karate. I'm going to get a black belt. 1% get it. A pilot's license. Guys, I'm going to learn how to fly an airplane. Blah blah blah. And you hear them. They constantly talk about it over and over and over and over. And then 1% gets the pilot license. And I don't talk about what I hope I'm going to do. I talk about what I've done or what I'm doing. And with YouTube, I'm actually able to show what I've done, what I'm trying to do, the difficulty, and solutions. Other people do, they have a whole different thing. They buy something on Amazon, they open the package, they do a video about the product that they have known nothing about it. It's insanity, okay? At some point, I realized that a lot of people are delusional. Their grasp on reality is different than mine. I annoy people because I'm the guy that when we're standing in a group comes up with the solution. They don't like that. They don't like me. They want to stand there and play make-believe. Yeah, we could do this. Well, here's how we fix it. We'll just do this. They don't want to fix. They want to just spout and come up with these preposterous ideas. And I just went for like, well, in order to learn CNC, you have to have a machine. So I come up with a simple way to make a machine. And at the time, you could buy a Shoreline milling machine and it had motors. And there were guys doing that, and they were crashing them because they didn't know what they were doing. And after they crashed it and bent it, they would put it on eBay. And I had a group of people, and I was showing them that. I was showing them some of the designs these guys came up with, and then they would dump it on eBay. They would put thousands of dollars into a machine that wasn't designed correctly. And I started explaining how to design each material. When it gets a certain length, becomes flexible, like a diving board. Some people would draw a diving board out and look at it and say it was sturdy. But as you go out on a diving board, the diving board bends. It's the whole idea of the diving board. But people in their mind, they build things too big, and then they get what I used to call a hang glider design. In other words, it looks sturdy in the drawings. When you see it fly, you really can't see it flexing, but it's flexing. With a CNC machine, you can't have that. And then CNC kind of died because people could buy 3D printers, and they buy the 3D printer and they play make believe with the 3D printer, and they do the tugboat. That's the thing I first noticed right away. The guy keeps, I got the tugboat going faster and faster, and then he's working with the software, so it spends less time making the plastic inside the tugboat. So it only does the surface. So he spends weeks redesigning the software and the drawing to make the tugboat faster. Now on the Big Bang Theory, they made fun of, they got a 3D printer and they made a whistle, and they were saying how much the whistle actually cost them. And it's the truth. There are people out there, it starts with when you're in high school and they're telling you, I'm going to get a brand new Mustang. I walked to school with a guy. He talked about a Mustang. He was going to get, the day he got his license, he was going to have this certain Mustang, a certain year. I could tell you the kid's name. Well, when he got driving, he ended up driving the ugly family car. That's what he got. Now with me, I got my driver's license and I drove the family car, and then I saved my money. I made sure I have enough money for tech school. And the moment I graduated from tech school, I bought my first car. Other people had cars in tech school. I used to walk to tech school. I used to get a ride from this one kid. I don't want to go into that story, but the fix was in. In other words, his father was in the school system, and certain people had to take a test to get a scholarship from a school, and they didn't have enough people so the kid could get the scholarship. So they got me to take the test. My father fell for it. I took the test. I did better than the kid, but they gave the scholarship to the kid. And the kid knew the fix was in. And then I was walking to tech school, and he pulled alongside the road. And I went to high school with him, and he's dead now. But anyway, he said, he told me the whole story, how I got screwed out of my scholarship. But I said, it's okay. And he drove me to school, to tech school. And I used to pay him. I used to pay him for gas, and he was very thankful. But every once in a while, he would just bring up how I got screwed over. I know all about this stuff. This is life. But I want to get into the fact that back then, people would talk about this car they're going to get. They're going to go to this college. It never happens. But you have to listen to them. And they would talk to me, and I'm like, well, I'm doing this right now. And I would talk about what I'm working on or what I just finished. And it was like I threw cold water on them. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to. They don't want to see what you've built. They don't want to see that you figured out that you could use gray PVC for prototyping, aluminum channel from Lowe's to build the ways, you know. And then I use this new stuff that I got on the internet, and then I come up with a design for a linear slide, which is a piece of Delrin with a V in it. I constantly innovated, and then I've designed over 30 different CNC machines. And you can go to crankorgan.com. It's part of it's still left. It's part of my email address. You can use the Wayback Machine, and you can go way back and see all the designs I built, the design, and the plans I sold. I didn't just talk about it. I put my money where my mouth where my money is, or my money where my mouth is, whatever you want, how you want to say it. When I was showing people stuff or talking about it in these groups, I had already done it. And then they were telling me why it won't work. And then when it started working, they really hated me. And my name of my website was Crank Organ. I named myself Cranky. as they were, he's cranky, he's upset, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I am. Especially when I've already built the thing. I'm showing you it's done. I'm selling the plans, and then you're telling me it won't work. I had so many people email me with the credentials telling me what I was doing wouldn't work. That's how insane it was getting. And then at one point, I started publishing the letters on the website, and then I would have my reply to the guy like, "Do you want to buy one? I have one right here. Do you want to buy it?" I had the CNC machine milling circuit boards, and I was the first to do that, and to show an actual machine you could build that mills circuit board. There were people milling circuit boards. There were people taking printers, real heavy duty printers, and putting a little dental drill in there and doing circuit boards. But I got real serious. I was pumping out circuit boards and selling them, the controller circuit for the CNC. And at one point, I was going to actually start having the machine make the parts for the machine itself. But I realized people aren't going to pay you for your time. They really don't have the money. They want to talk about stuff. Now, the groups, I call them motor spinners. Almost none of them came up with a machine. The best they did was they bought Shurlines and put motors on them. And they would do an upgrade. Like you'd read the messages, and the guy goes, "I really think I need more speed." Think about this. This guy has a stepper motor with a piece of tape on the end. It's not smooth enough. I think I need to go to servo systems. And I would read these messages, and I didn't realize people were this delusional. A large percentage of people are really stupid. 50% of people are seriously stupid. Then there are people that are so stupid they don't realize how stupid they are. And you get involved with those people. And then they start telling you how the thing should work, even though you've already built it. You're selling the plans. And they forget that, or they don't know that. And, it's like last night a guy come in and he said, on my video, I said, I made the thing too many times. And then I click on his name, and he has no videos. See, people that don't do videos don't realize how hard it is. You get up there and extenuate. I can't even say the word. In other words, you just get up there and bang, you start doing your video. You don't understand that until you've done it. And these people spout. They're in the fantasy world. I've done that, moved on, and was been there, done that. That was the saying. A lot of people have been there, done that. It was bullshit. They were bullshitting then too. I was the guy where I worked. The boss would call me in the office, and a couple times I tried to get him to send another person to school. And one guy hated me because they're always picking me. And I tried to get them to send this one particular guy to school. And the boss looks at me and says, he's a big baby. You can't count on him. He's a big baby. All he does, and he did, he just danced around, and he would spin around on the floor as Curly, as one of the Three Stooges. And the bosses would walk by, they see that action, and they're like, the guy's he's 30-something years old, and he's acting like a 10-year-old. So they wouldn't send him. I was begging him, like, please send him. He thinks he's going. Yeah, well, we sort of mentioned it, but he ain't going. So he sent me, and he hated me because I got sent to the school instead of him, because he had told his wife he was going. I've gone through so much in life. I just wanted to tell you, the CNC was 20 years of hard work. I did everything I said I was going to do. Even after I moved here, I continued to use materials found at Lowe's, coupled with stuff found on the internet. This is a linear way. It's got a V on the end here, and this piece of Delrin has a V cut in it, and it slides on there effortlessly. It's just beautiful, but it's too late. People have already jumped to 3D printers so they can print the tugboat and spend weeks. I got the tugboat. I'm using the special blah 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 filament. I read about 3D printers. I was building a machine that printed in wax, and then you take the wax and you put it in a mold in plaster of Paris, and you got to take the air bubbles out. I don't want to go into the whole process, but you take the wax part and you put it in a mold. You make a mold, and then you pour aluminum in the mold and break the mold open. Now the part's aluminum. much further ahead than 3D printing. And I was working on it. And I said, you know what? This is just going to get copied. So I didn't do it. And the 3D printers took off. And I started contacting the 3D printer guys about coming up with a filament that melts away easily. And then they could go do that, it's called lost wax thing. I was contacting, and I said, you know what? They didn't understand what lost wax was. I said, you know what? They don't see it. I have to spend 2 or 3 weeks of emails to get the light bulb to go on for the guy that he's just concentrating on producing 3D machines because that's what's selling at the time. That's what it is. You start making money and you focus in only on the one product. And then as it's a curve, it goes up, people are interested, and then suddenly nobody wants it. Also, as the curve's going up and getting ready to drop on the other side, you have competition comes along. And you got people bullshitting and lying. And you got there's so many things that you get involved in. But I want to tell you, when I was in that group, I come into the group, and I really thought people would want to have a machine they could learn CNC on. They didn't want it. The big part of the thing was showing off. Oh, I have the servo motor system, and I have these types of linear rails, and no machine. And then when they would cobble something together, it would flex. It didn't work right. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have the design. And then it would end up on eBay. And on eBay, there would be this giant paragraph telling your person why these parts are the best. And I selected this part, and I had this material cut. So he gets the aluminum pieces cut. And then the part is now worth what the aluminum costs plus what it costs to have it custom cut. And the machine is designed bad. I mean, retarded. It's retarded the way it was designed. And then I would point it out to guys in my group, people that bought my plans, and someone would say, you know, you shouldn't really say anything. Just keep quiet. It doesn't prove anything. But I was so aggravated for what they pulled on me. And I would come in the morning, and they would come in under different names and say nasty things to me, similar to the YouTube guys, where you say okay too many times, or this or that, or why did you do this video? And then, like I said, you click on a name, and there's no videos. These guys just go around in life criticizing other people without ever having done anything. You know, they make comments about those guys as living in their parents' basement. And that's what they are. They have all these big dreams, but the funny thing is about dreams, when you actually go to have them happen, reality sets in. And I got this piece of aluminum from guys that really should have handed me some money, and they handed me some pieces of aluminum, and they were keeping the aluminum because it was 40 cents a pound at the time. They were storing it, and instead of handing me a couple bucks for the work I did, they offered me some aluminum. So I looked at it. I looked at the profile. I went home. It was around Thanksgiving, and I'm laying in bed, and I realized that if I turned the part over, and I went back up there, and they cut me a piece. I came home, and during the Thanksgiving Day parade, I went up and down. I was cooking my pork chops on Thanksgiving. I was going up and down the stairs, and I completed a complete bearing system, because you got the piece of aluminum, and then you have to have a linear system. And I got Delrin by mistake from somebody. Someone didn't have the plastic I wanted. They sold me stuff that was Delrin. It all came together, and I started popping it out. Now, Delrin was invented in 1959. Until I started using Delrin, nobody really knew what it was. And the big mouths used to kept saying, it's acetal, it's acetal. Well, Delrin is the highest form. So it's like you tell someone to buy Pepsi, and one of these big mouths tell them, oh, Coke's the same. But you're telling them to get Pepsi first. And the big mouth is, it's just Coca-Cola, anything will work. Well, that's how the acetal was. They would shoot from the hip, and then other people would use the cheap man's Delrin is HDPE. So that material, if you use that, when you tighten the bolt up on it, it would deform, and then the next day it would be loose. I didn't use HDPE because it was no good. I used PVC, and then I realized I could go to this. When I went to buy some PVC, this guy told me I should be using this Delrin stuff, and he sold me a little piece of it, and I put it on, and it worked much better. I kept redoing the machines. Like I said, I did over 30 different designs. Go look at the Wayback, how many different sets of plans I sold, and then I started combining plans with the motor controller. I changed the motor controller so it'd be easier to make. I constantly worked, 24/7 on the thing, lost a lot of sleep, spent a lot of my retirement money only to have the hobby collapse. It collapsed. And then every once in a while you get a guy, I really would like to set a plans. Where'd you see that? Well, you went on the Wayback Machine. That doesn't do you any good. And there were people sending me money for plans, even though I pulled it all down. And see, they want what they can't have. They're just going to put the plans in a drawer. I understand this now. When I coined the phrase motor spinners, all with capital letters, all one word, I started to realize that there are people out there that actually play make-believe, and they do buy some of the materials, and they take pictures of it and they post it. Look what I bought. They were lunatics. They were nuts. And it all comes back to the guys with the cars. I'm going to have a Mustang when I graduate. It never happened. I had this crappy little Nova, which I loved. I had it for 8 years. I bought a Nova, $800. I got 8 years out of it. I did my own repairs. And there were people I grew up with, they had motors in their garage. And they were going to build a car around the motor. And at some point, I helped their parents put the motor. A guy showed up with a winch, and we put the motor on the winch, and we took it away. The car never got built. The motor never got rebuilt. This is what I didn't realize when I was younger. I took people on their word. I'm going to build this. I'm going to build that. And then you start finding the people that never build anything, and they have everything to say about what you're doing. And that's what I don't like. And I go after them now. Where's your videos? Where are your videos? You've got people. Oh, you say this too much. No kidding. You stand up there and you put a piece of something in front of you, and you let the camera roll, and let's see how you do. And the worst are the people that buy something. It's called unboxing. They unbox something. They have no clue what they're looking at. Gee, I don't know what this piece is. Yeah, it's to get to the person that looks at unboxings, get excited seeing something opened up. See, that's where the views are. It has nothing to do with the product, how good it is, or how to operate it, or why the person bought that model. No, it's all about the eye candy. It's like the people that sit on Sunday and watch a guy throw a pass, a Hail Mary pass. They get all excited seeing a Hail Mary pass and that person catching it and winning the game. They get the excitement themselves as though they threw the Hail Mary pass. But all they're doing is overeating high-carb foods and drinking and making their body turn to crap. Meanwhile, they're screaming at the screen saying what a loser the guy is. Yeah, that's funny stuff, huh? All right, I think that's it. All right, that's it.